Hi, I'm Jay Draper.
Hello, I'm Daniel Wellman, and we're here with the Disability Den.
We're at the corner of Bathurst and St. Clair, and we're asking people today about Mayor Olivia Chow.
Okay, so the first issue with all the politicians was they all said the same thing about housing affordability, TDC, and all that sort of stuff, except for Saunders, who talked about crime. But of course, that's kind of, in my mind, that's a non-issue because crime always fluctuates at about the same level, and it's really dependent from the statistics about the number of men between the ages of about 15 and 25 or 30, right, in the area. So in that respect, I didn't see much difference between Chow and the other people. But her background as Jack Layton's wife and an NDPer and all of that, and knowing the history of the NDP in the province, I'm not too happy actually that Chow was elected, because I think she is going to be typical spend, spend, spend. Not that some of the things she's going to spend on are unwarranted, I think they are, but I just don't think that she, along with a lot of people who support her, understand the concept of budgets and financing and what that aspect is going to do to the individual. There's also the issue of some of these problems that we have. She, along with the other contenders, talked about things, for example, like housing affordability. Well, yeah, that's an issue that actually hits me quite substantially as well as a renter. But the truth is, at the municipal level, not much you can do about it, if anything. I mean, it comes down to interest rates, it comes down to demand, which is really dependent on the number of people coming into the city. And at the federal level, we're going to have, 500,000 people come into the country each year for the next, I think, 3 years or so.
So you don't think there is a demand for affordable housing, then?
There's a demand for it, but you got people coming into the country, and most of them want to come to the GTA. So how are you going to finance it, and where are these places going to come from? Because we need housing right now for the people who are coming in. Apparently there's a shortfall, according to the stats that I've seen, of about 300,000 units more or less across the country.
She claims that she's promised to build 25,000 affordable housing units over the next 8 years.
Okay, so where are they going to go and who's going to pay for them? And one of the issues with affordable housing and subsidized housing generally is what conditions are going to be placed upon the people moving into these residences, right? So are they just going to be asked to pay, say, a flat fee of, say, $600 or $800 a month? Or are they going to be asked to also contribute financially beyond that, based on what they're receiving from, say, various social benefits or from jobs that they have?
I believe some of the units are supposed to be income adjusted depending on what you make.
Yeah, okay, well that's fair, and I think all of them should be like that. One of the issues, of course, is where are they going to go? The GTA is a large area, but everybody seems to want to concentrate downtown, which is where the most expensive properties are. And if you suggested going to Scarborough or Brampton, well, Brampton's not GTA, but northwest Etobicoke or southwest Etobicoke or out in the more remote areas of the GTA itself, oh no, you can't do that to us. We demand to be down here. And you know what? For me, that's a no-go. You deserve something, but you don't deserve to take my money that I'm short on to begin with and need to survive on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to get everything for yourself on a subsidized basis, so it's...
And do you think that this would help you in any way, bring down rental prices in general, or maybe give you an option for affordable housing?
Probably wouldn't help at all. My understanding is there's about an 8 or 10 year wait for subsidized housing right now in the city.
Well, that's because there's very few units, right?
Okay, but once again, where's she going to put the 25,000 units? And how long will it take them to build them? A condo...
Claiming over 8 years.
Exactly. So 8 years from now, I'm going to have 25,000 more units, but between now and then, I'm going to have another million people come into the GTA demanding some sort of housing. So 25,000 units is nice, but is it going to do anything In substance over the long term, no, not of substance. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a minor benefit.
So, aside from housing, do you think there's anything else that she should be focusing on?
Well, I think transit's an issue, and yeah. I mean, we are here on St. Clair, and we have this dedicated streetcar line, and I can tell you from practical experience that the TTC can't even run that on a schedule that they post. If you go into the subway system, you take a look at how often they're supposed to run the streetcars. It's never, or very rarely, according to what they're posting. If they can't even do that on a dedicated line, I mean, the whole system needs rethink. We need more buses. In the short term to get to all the parts of the GTA. The service is generally dedicated to providing relatively good service in the core, but if you get outside of the core and you get away from the subways to any substantive distance, the TTC is a no-go. Yeah. People also talk about things like safety on the TTC. Well, I've talked to drivers, and I've looked at this myself, and I have some interesting stories on the TTC that happened to me, and other people have had the same. In fact, I would fire their entire security team and start from scratch, and I think whoever is responsible should never work for a public agency, the person responsible for security on the TTC. It's never really be an issue. I think the fees on the TTC, the fares, I mean, there's a whole issue with whether or not we're getting enough money from the province. There's enough issue of whether or not the city's putting enough into there. Some people believe, and I think I kind of tend to agree with this idea, that if you want to get cars off the road and you want better traffic flow, one, obviously you have to improve the frequency of service across the entire GTA. Particularly outside of the core, because outside of the core the frequency is really bad, and maybe charge a one flat small fee, $1 a ride for everybody. But that would encourage people over the long term to give up cars and start using transit. If you did it today, people aren't going to give up their cars tomorrow to, I'm going to take the TTC today. No, it's going to be 5 years from now when their cars are breaking down and they have to replace. They're going to say, I could wait a couple more years and take the TTC instead, and maybe they'll get accustomed to the TTC. That, by the way, is not just an issue with the TTC. I was in Mississauga previously, and the TTC is gold standard compared to Mississauga, or if you go up to Vaughan, those systems are horrendous compared to the TCC. So this is a huge issue right across southern Ontario, really.
Well, public transit is the lifeblood of any community, and especially a major city, obviously, right? So thank you very much for your thoughts. It's been very informative, and we appreciate you talking with us.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a good day.